stop. Put that jar of peanut butter down before you spread another knife full, because the big peanut butter test of 2026 is here. And what we found on the back of these labels is a genuine scandal. Hit subscribe right now so we can keep testing uncensored. This is our fight against the marketing giants, so the algorithm spreads this truth across the country. And if one of these jars is sitting in your pantry right now, do not look away. This is exactly the one we need to talk about, because I bet money one of them is in there. And every spoonful you thought was just peanuts and salt has been quietly feeding your liver a slurry of palm oil, hydrogenated fat, and hidden sugar your gut never asked for. It coats the lining, it settles in, your body files it away and doesn't say a word. That's the con. It feels wholesome, it tastes rich, and it does its quiet damage for years while you keep buying the next jar. So here's my promise to you, a double one. At the very end of this list waits a surprise winner, a store brand cleaner than every famous name on the shelf and cheaper than all of them. And I'll hand you a 60-second kitchen check that exposes a low-quality jar the second you pop the lid. No lab, no chemistry, just your own two eyes. Stay until the very end for both. Stay with me right through, because that surprise winner is cheaper than the jar you're holding right now. Today we're putting 12 brands under the microscope, ranked from worst to best, worst first. But before the countdown, the trick they bury in plain sight. Real peanut butter is peanuts and maybe a pinch of salt. That's it. But the word spread changes everything. Peanut spread only legally needs 60% peanuts. The other 40%? Spreadable factory filler. And they can still slap a smiling, wholesome label right on the front like nothing's wrong. 60% peanuts, 40% whatever's cheap that week. And it's all perfectly legal. Flip your jar over right now, folks. Find the ingredient line and read along with me. Rank 12 and rank 11, the two giants everybody grew up with, Skippy and Jif, around $3.29 a jar. Flip them over, and there it is, right in the first four lines. Hydrogenated vegetable oils and added sugar. Consumer Reports 2024 analysis flagged that smooth, creamy texture you love as exactly what it is. An emulsified oil and sugar matrix engineered to feel rich on your tongue. And a Clean Label Project screening found trace aflatoxin and cadmium turning up in mass-market peanut lines. Aflatoxin, a mold toxin. Cadmium, a heavy metal. Neither one belongs anywhere near your morning toast. And think about the money for a second. $3.29 a jar for the famous name. And a good chunk of that isn't peanuts at all. You're paying for the cartoon mascot and the television budget, not for what's inside. And who's really behind the friendly faces on those labels? Skippy, that's Hormel now. Jif, owned by J.M. Smucker. This isn't nature, it's spreadsheet optimized factory sludge. Stay away. But here's the thing that got me. Skippy and Jif, for all their sins, at least still admit they're peanut butter. The three jars sitting just one rung above them, ranks 10 through 8, don't even earn that word. One of them is stretched with an oil that literally scrapes your gut lining raw, and it's hiding under a $2.49 spread most of you have grabbed thinking it was the cheap, smart choice. That oil, the one that scrapes your gut lining raw like sandpaper. It lives right here in a jar you probably grabbed because it looked like the smart, cheap play. $2.49, ranks 10 through 8. Peter Pan and the discount spreads huddled right beside it. And if you've got a discount spread in the door of your fridge right now, this is the rank you need to hear. Flip one of these over. Read the first few lines. Palm oil, dextrose, mono, and diglycerides. And that word on the front, spread. That's not marketing being lazy. That's the law letting them off the hook. Real peanut butter is peanuts and maybe salt. A spread only has to be 60% peanuts. The other 40, filler. Cheap fat, cheap sugar, cheaper chemistry, poured in to stretch the jar and pad the margin. That palm oil isn't there for you. It's there because it's cheaper than peanuts and it never separates on the shelf, except it does something worse once it's inside you. It drags across your gut lining like fine grit sandpaper, meal after meal after meal. And when one of these spreads finally does split apart in the jar, don't kid yourself that it's gone natural. It didn't separate because it's honest. It separated because the chemicals holding it together simply gave up. And this isn't just my tongue talking. A Clean Label Project screening of budget spreads flagged the very same fillers stretching the peanut thin, and the ingredient panel confirms it line by line. One of you left this in the comments last month. It doesn't taste like peanuts, it tastes like a candle. That's not a bad jar, folks. That's the recipe working exactly the way it was designed to. To my palate, sterile, waxy, wrong. Chemical foam pretending to be a peanut. And here's the part that should make you angry. This exact same palm oil trick is hiding in the sweet stuff too. If you want the deep dive, our chocolate test video pulls the label back on your favorite bars. And it's the same con, same cheap fat, different aisle. Links waiting. For me, on all three of these, stay away. Now hold on tight. Forget everything you thought you knew about cheap store brands. Because right here, at the top 5 border, something changes. And I'll be honest, I did not see it coming either. Rank 5, Kroger's Simple Ingredient Natural Peanut Butter. $2.19, cheaper than the Peter Pan you just watched fail. Flip it over, and I dare you to find the trap. There isn't one. Peanuts, salt. That's the whole list. No hydrogenated oil, no dextrose, no diglycerides buried in the fine print. And look at the top of the jar. See that? A thin layer of oil risen up all on its own, sitting exactly where it should. That's not a defect. That's the mark of a spread that was never whipped and emulsified into submission. That's a peanut still acting like a peanut, just peanuts and salt. The thing the famous names couldn't pull off for $3.29, a store brand nailed for $2.19. Type the store brand you buy in the comments. I want to see how many of you already found a hidden hero without ever knowing it. And if you want us to keep testing like this, uncensored, with no big brand ad money softening the verdict, hit like and subscribe. This is our fight against the marketing giants, and the algorithm only carries it as far as you push it. But here's the thing about Kroger. As clean as it is, it's still only rank 5. 3 organic jars sit above it, up in the Champions League, and the one we crowned rank 1, our test winner, is cleaner than the $6 boutique brands and cheaper than Skippy. It's a name almost none of you would ever put at the top. That name is coming, and I'm still holding the 60-second kitchen check for the very end, the one that exposes a bad jar the second you lift the lid. Rank 3, Trader Joe's Organic Peanut Butter. $3.49. And folks, this one's a relief to talk about. Dry roasted peanuts, a whisper of salt, and that's the whole guest list. Nothing crashing the party. The Environmental Working Group screened it clean. No palm oil, no hydrogenated anything, no sugar smuggled into the first 4 lines. Flip it over and the label reads like a grocery list your grandmother would recognize. To my palate, honest, nutty, real. A solid, well-earned jar. Safe to buy, but Trader Joe's doesn't take the top step because Rank 2 walks in and quietly humiliates the big names on price. Rank 2, Costco's Kirkland Signature Organic. Valley Fresh peanuts, no palm oil, no fillers, no chemistry set additives. And here's the part that stings the marketing giants. At warehouse size, the price per pound undercuts almost everything sitting above it on the shelf. You're buying a big, honest tub of just peanuts and salt for less money per ounce than Skippy charges you for spreadable factory sludge. Consumer protection math right there. It's clean, it's cheap, it's a genuine test winner in almost any other lineup. Almost, because one jar still sits above it, and it's the one nobody in this comment section would ever crown. Before I say the name, guess it in your head right now. I promise you're wrong, and that's the whole point. Rank 1, our test winner, Aldi's Simply Nature Organic Peanut Butter, $2.19 a jar. Organic peanuts, a pinch of salt, And say it with me, nothing else. No palm oil, no hydrogenated fat, no sugar hiding in the fine print. Cleaner than the $6 boutique brands with the hand-lettered labels. Cheaper than Skippy. Cheaper than Jif. Let that land. $2.19 instead of $6.99. Cleaner, fairer, cheaper. The cheapest jar in the whole test beat every luxury name on the shelf. That's not a fluke. That's the entire lie unraveling in your hands. You were never paying for better peanut butter. You were paying for the label, the gold-lettered lid, the farmer's market font, the little story printed on the side, all of it markup. Not 1 cent of it ever ends up in the jar. And now, as promised at the very start, the 60-second kitchen check, the one that lets you police every jar you ever buy again. No lab, no single dollar. Open your jar. Just look at the top. On a real peanut butter, just peanuts and salt, you'll see a natural layer of oil pooled on the surface. That's not a defect. That's honesty. That's the peanut doing exactly what a peanut does. Now, if the top is bone dry and perfectly uniform, smooth as spackle right to the rim, that's your red flag. That flawless texture is emulsified filler holding the oil hostage so it can never separate. Palm oil, hydrogenated fat, the stuff that survives 3 weeks on your counter looking factory fresh. Real food separates. Fake food stays suspiciously perfect. So go grab your own jar, open it, and tell me in the comments, natural oil layer or bone dry filler. I'll check your brands personally. Try it tonight. Write your result down there, and I'll go through as many of your jars as I can. Because here's the truth we keep coming back to, one product at a time. There's no such thing as cheap food. You pay at the register or you pay with your health. That $2 jar of sludge isn't a bargain. It's a bill your liver settles later. So tell me, which brand is in your fridge, and are you switching after this? Be honest, it's a confession booth down there. No judgment. And do me one favor, send this to the friend who still buys the expensive name, the one who swears the famous jar just tastes better. They deserve to read the back of that label too. Next check, we're going somewhere darker. The olive oil fraud nobody's talking about. Half the bottles labeled extra virgin on your shelf aren't what they claim, and once you see how they cut it, you'll never trust that green bottle the same way again. Until then, stay sharp, stay healthy. See you at the next check.